Starting.
It's gonna be a good show. I can feel it already.
Hello, survivors, and welcome to the bunker with RSG. I'm Team McVenom. We have Delete here from 125 and 359. Is your sound
What up?
working? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, it's nice and crystal clear. I like your new earbuds, your new mic.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
we
I
have
did this for
Dage.
you guys.
Yeah, all for you. We have Daedric from 42. Hello, Daedric. Or Rusty, should I say.
Yeah, rock on, Alan, rock on.
And we also have from 42 Tits of Fury. Hello, sweet tits.
Hello, sweet tits.
Fury is also playing 359 with us. The only one we don't have on 359 is Daedric, actually, because Finn's on it. A lot of our guests have been on 359 as well. So maybe one day we'll convince Daedric to try out some new states. But tonight, Finn is not here yet. He may pop in a little bit later. You guys should rag him a bit because he actually wanted to do the stream on SVS. Just general discussion on it because we've noticed in the new states that a lot of people don't understand it, and we take it for granted as older state players because we've gone through a couple of them now, more than a couple. We just don't. The 359, we got our first SVS, so it's just really new to them, and they're just like, what is this, what is that? So we're just kind of going to go through it a little bit, not really in depth. We're not going to like bullet point the strategies out or anything like that. Just kind of go and talk about it a bit. Very casual how-to stream, how-to SVS, or just kind of discuss it. But thank you guys for joining. Bean, nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit. I'm glad that you're feeling a bit better. I'm assuming you're feeling a bit better. We got you in the stream tonight. Ranger, McVenom is late. Yeah, I'm always late. Like this is what I do. Fort Mort, nice of you to join us. Also, Grim, Munchie. Hello, Munchie. We appreciate you guys joining us for the stream. So, who are your opponents for SVS? I know Deletes. What is our opponent? I don't know. I forgot the number.
The losing team.
94. Aren't we in 90? Aren't we against 94? I think so.
Yeah, I feel like that's right. They're state 94.
We're 125 against 94. So it should be interesting. I think we're probably the stronger. Right? We're like by far stronger.
Seems that way. I mean, they're a considerable amount older than us, but like, from what I could see scanning over, like typically what I do when I get my matchup is I literally just kind of roam the plains, see what other alliances look like, because I've got all this spare time, apparently.
To just play around on the map.
Yeah. And I just kind of like scan and see like, oh, all right, they look legit. Like, I mean, I've yet to see, like just like 5-star bases surrounding Trap, like where everyone's a 5-star or anything. I was like, okay, all right, you guys look beat down. You guys look like you're barely playing. And all right, there's a couple big alliances. All right, good hive construction, so on and so forth, just to kind of get that, and see what we're up against, And
Are you really looking at their hive construction for?
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah.
That's next level.
I mean,
that is next level.
Yeah, I mean, because it shows how much strategy or like even time that they put into
organization.
If it's all over the place, it's like, yeah, all right, they really don't really care. But then like if it's like perfect, then like, wow, they might drop some timed rallies. They might actually have the science down where they're like really after it.
Yeah.
So
crazy Faka, I see you in there, and Ruse, I see you guys in there too. I don't mean to forget you. 42, Daedric and Fury. Who are you guys against?
35.
Now, is that a serious one? Is that like?
Yeah. So there's differing opinions right now because their top alliance in their state, BRA, is the top alliance in the game right now. And not just like in BP, but they hit what is that, Master in Showdown, and they're really good in Res Raid. Like, they're definitely a top alliance in the game. So.
Oh, so this one would be one to watch for you guys then.
You guys might have some fun.
You might have to peek in on that one.
Yeah. There's a lot of everybody on like Sticky's Discord and on the Facebook community. They're like, I can't wait to see 35 and versus 42. Like, you guys should live stream it, because it's we're pretty, I wouldn't say we're evenly matched, but I'm not sure exactly who is the better. Like, there's some areas, like, they definitely have more troops, but I think we're more battle tested. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
What do you think, Daedric? Are you excited for it, or are you kind of like...
I'm kind of whatever. I don't plan on porting to the capital. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah? So
no,
we were...
Go ahead.
No. I was just going to lead them into how we were talking about how some of us are getting a bit burned out in some of the older states.
Yeah, 35, like, I've kept an eye on them for a while. Like, they've had the Yes Alliance, which was top at one point in the game. Like, that's Viper GE, who used to be Sheriff Casada. He's not in the game anymore. It's now Viper GE. He's in 35. The two alliances, Yes and BRA, have kind of been alternating, swapping players. But right now it is BRA, as Fury mentioned. Like, they have huge spenders. Like, we think in 42 we have huge spenders. Like, these guys have spent, oh my god, like, unfathomable amounts of money. But it's multiple players in the same alliance that have done that. They have two players over $1 billion BP in that state alone. Plus ones that are in the 600 to 800 million range, and there's multiple in various alliances. So, in terms of it being a tough capital, yes, it's going to be a fight. But again, I don't plan on having any part of that.
Yeah. I think Delete and Fury both were just saying it really does get to when you're getting into these older states, and then you have so much at stake on these SVSs, because this is the big thing that everybody fights for. Like, that's the big, because there's nothing else going on. So SVS is it. So then there's so much at stake at it, that if you're a stronger account, like you guys are like the top dog, like the strongest, some of the strongest in your alliances and in your state, there's so much pressure, and it's like a job. It is like a job to show up and put everything out there, and it does get the burnout. I'm sure it gets really real. I'm burnt out, and I'm not even a strong account. Like, I can't imagine you guys having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Hey, Deadpool, Kyle, and Slick. Thank you, guys. He says I'm ready for the pew pew. So I wish Finn was here so that I could kind of break down, like, what is the most confusing part when you first get into an SVS. First, let me give a code out. Let me give this code out. I don't know what's going on with Aeth, my handler, but this is the code that he gave me. The first gift code is meatballs.
It was a mid-last stream. See, Daedric, they weren't here, so you weren't here, so they didn't watch. So then we didn't get, like, the personalized, like, code this time.
Yeah. And it may be a personalized code that we're missing somewhere. I mean, was that maybe said? I mean, we say so much stuff, we have no idea when we say stuff.
You know what? Maybe somebody was cooking a real great batch of meatballs that stream.
Oh,
and it just...
yeah, Finn says they might be watching us on DST.
Do you think so? You know what's funny? I was playing Don't Starve, and I posted a Twitter message that I was streaming on Don't Starve Together, and the official SOS Discord, or the official SOS Twitter account, liked it and shared it. So maybe they are watching. That's cool. They're watching.
We did make a lot of meatballs on Tuesday.
We did a lot of meatballs.
Burn the place down.
That sounds awesome.
So, yeah, so the first code is meatballs, guys. Get your codes. Please don't share them. Save them just for the stream, please. We've had a couple instances where they're all shared out before anybody gets to use them from the stream. So what do you guys think? Finn, since you're in the stream, please ask me some questions in there, since you're chatty in there. What you think the biggest issues that people are having trouble understanding with SVS. I know that what we noticed was the start times, right, Fury? Like when they were popping the buffs, like the state buffs to try to coincide with the start time of SVS, there was a lot of confusion about when things would start and stuff. And let me see if I can pull this up. Is there like I wish there was more of like a timeline for SVS as far as when you can see, like, you know how we have our calendar? Yeah. I wish they would do like a timeline with like the start times on the calendar. Do you know what I'm saying? For each phase, where you could see it all out? I mean, would that be too much to do? I don't think so.
No, that's very doable. I think that's an excellent suggestion. The other game I play does that. They specify exactly what lands on what day, so you can prepare for it. Versus you just guessing. And a lot of the times people have had to create spreadsheets, like have had to build their own calendars. So rather than the game making it easier for you, you have to put in extra work to verify when things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very easy as a governor to like not line things up because you don't see it coming, or you miss like valuable time, like right after reset. It seems like at least in 125, right after reset seems to be the most active time. For the people that want to take advantage of any mislabeled codes and get a free skin for a couple hours or permanently, or it just anyone wants to hit that advantage really quick. That's a big thing. But I feel like right after reset, it's when plague zones start popping up out of nowhere, and rally 5, level 5 infected start popping up all over the place. So I feel like that's kind of the prime time, and if you don't hit that right, you can lose a lot.
So, Fury, I know that you've been governor in your state before SVS, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, when is the ideal time to be popping these buffs? Like, do you have it, like, off the top of your head, or do you have to go back and look at it? But, like, what is the time to be popping some of these for the prep stage?
So, I know that the 1st, 3rd, and 5th day are the best days for like construction, research, and troops. I don't remember exactly which one was which, because we've kind of switched up how we do governor, and so I'm no longer like the governor before SVS. But I know those 1, 3, and 5 are generally the good days to set them. I believe troops was the 3rd. The 1st might have been construction, and the 5th is research, I want to say.
And if you pop them like that, the cooldown, isn't there a cooldown in between each buff? But since it's the 1st, 3rd, if you pop one right before that 1st stage starts, does that affects the 1st one, and then there's that cooldown is not affected for the 3rd stage, right?
Well, so the cooldowns are, I think there's 6 or 7 days in between uses. So you can like stack multiple different buffs, but like reusing the same buff, there is like a week cooldown.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't even know that. I thought there was like a 72-hour cooldown between how often you can use them.
You can't go like research to research again.
Basically. Oh, gotcha. That's the cooldown. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
So like the week prior, thankfully, they told us that it was going to be once a month that we have it. So basically every other capital, that governor, like they have to watch that week before prep stage, that they also time the buffs so that they can actually set them the week of prep, because the SVS prep is kind of more important, or I guess depending on how you want to play warfare, could be more important than like survival of the fittest. So you have to decide which is going to take priority if you want to use the buff.
That actually leads us into question number 1 was difference between SVS prep stage and survival of the fittest. What are the key differences? And I had a survival of the fittest sheet pulled up, and I can't find it anywhere, but...
I mean, for the most part, they're extremely similar. The rewards are different. They contribute towards different events. There's a state warfare bundle that comes in like right before, your capital event for SVS comes into play, but Survival of the Fittest will have, the opening day of Survival of the Fittest will have a bundle pop up, but the events are extremely similar. There's an infected day, there's a research day, there's, plasma cores basically almost throughout, it feels like. Lately there's a troop build day. So it's very similar to Survival of the Fittest. It's just, with the end all cap event towards the end of SVS. And some people are like, yeah, man, I don't really like the people that run my state anyway, so I'll just do my own thing with Survival of the Fittest, because a lot of people do feel that Survival of the Fittest rewards are better anyway, so they kind of do that. They've got a better chance there than having to compete against two states in SVS when you're doing, that version of the Survival of the Fittest. So,
well, the rewards definitely aren't better unless you are. I mean, they're better if you're not going to be in the top. What is it, 50 or 100 of state versus state, or actually it might even be a smaller amount than that. But I mean, if you're a top contender, yeah, of course, go state versus state. But I could see people not doing that and just going for Survival of the Fittest. So yeah, and plus there's also the Infected and Gathering events are different, right?
Yeah, point structure is different, but I feel like they've been changing. I feel like both events have been kind of like changing, in a minuscule amount, but still changing. Like this was the first one that was like better to kill, was supposed
Infected
to rally
versus rally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the first time that's ever been the case.
But it was in two different events. It was one event was better to do the rallies, and then the other one that was the infected was better. Yeah, that was really weird. I haven't seen that before. I
mean, they're definitely making it so you always have to read the game, and then unfortunately, the more people that read the game, the more people find like typos and random things that are just incorrect with the game. But they make you chase it. Even the way that the menus were laid out. To be like, okay, level 1 infected, 2 infected, 3, 4, and then in the middle of like the 30 would be something else random that shouldn't be there, and then it'd pop back to the regular list. So that was a bit random, but you got to pay attention, especially if you want to score and you want to score well, pay attention. So this way you don't burn things unnecessarily.
Well, and so another difference with SVS prep stage and Survival of the Fittest is SVS prep also includes alliance rewards for each of the different stages and overall, and those are nice, especially if you're like in a top alliance where you're going to rank high. I mean, the alliance number 1 just for stage 5 is 25 or 2.5k biocaps, 5 searches and resources. So you can also double up on your rewards on SVS.
Yeah. Well, not switching to the state warfare coins too. They give you a lot of those too. Do they double them up as you get higher, or is it just all across the board with the alliance rewards? I can't remember.
I don't know.
We had that discussion.
I feel like that's the one store that sells out really easily. Like, I use my coins for stuff that like, it was like, okay, here's my research one. I'll bang that out because it's all I have left to do. And then I was just like, let me just, run through some of the extra stuff because I don't need a lot of it. And it was just like, oh, completely sold out now. And it was just like, what?
Well, the state warfare, the only thing that I think really is good in there is like if you're a winner, you get the frags and then you get the plasma if you're a winner. But like, I guess, the marches, but other than that, but it's like, they give you a limit of like 3 of each thing, or like 3 of the speed ups and stuff. So it's not really that great. Okay, another question was, Finn loading up the questions. What can governors do to help their state? And I think Fury kind of went over it as far as the buffs, but there's other stuff, obviously, the governors. So our state is doing this weird thing. 359 is doing this weird thing where the governors are negotiating a no hits in the capital thing.
Wait, no hits on the capital?
No hits during SVS. In the capital battle. No hits on bases.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, no, we're definitely hitting capital.
No, I meant like no hits on bases. I'm sorry. I should have clarified that. Like no settlement hits.
Yeah, which I don't agree with.
I don't either. Like you're taking the whole fun out of I think that you're taking the fun out of the whole thing. That's the excitement of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and it takes, that goes into the whole if you want to win or lose prep, if you want to have home field advantage or not during warfare stage, then there really is, if you're going to have no settlement hits at capital, then there really is no point in winning prep.
Well, we'll get into that. That's in another question. But like, what are the other things that the governor can do besides negotiating with other states? I guess organizing and getting your state together as far as like a battle strategy.
Communicating, like, getting everybody, especially getting everybody on Discord, at least alliance leaders, and communicating, like kind of spearheading the communication between everybody, or at least connecting like your, because some alliances have like a warlord type position, and so you need to connect those people so they can, get their minds together and figure out a game plan. Also for communicating, like, or deciding if you want to win, which prep stage or warfare, or what else? Not just the state buffs, but the actual title buffs, like who's going to have the titles on the specific days that you need them to. Because it's not just, it's not just your own alliance if you're the governor. Like, you have to consider everybody else in the state. Like, somebody might have 20,000 hours, which has happened before, but 20,000 hours of training speed ups, and they need to use them. Like, might as well capitalize on that if you want to win prep.
Yeah. So you'll give them a buff to let them use.
Right.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
So, question: debuffs, they don't carry through in SVS, correct?
Correct.
Do the buffs carry through in SVS? Nothing carries
Not
through.
during the capital. Yeah.
Not at the capital battle. Like
Right.
There's no part during the battle stage that it carries over, so that wouldn't help at all. Like, but just for the prep stage, it would. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so what is the benefit of losing the prep stage? So we've actually discussed this a bunch about like how frustrating it is to try when you win and then you're trying to get to the capital, the opposing state, and it is just like how many, like 50 circles deep of just alts and everybody there. Like, I mean, so the benefit number one is you're going to have that advantage, that home field advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other benefits to it besides not wasting all your crap on SVS prep?
I feel like if you win and you lose prep, you don't get governor, depending on how much that matters to you. Like, you don't get like your chance to dole out your own state buffs. But I mean,
wait.
That's kind of like meh.
Did you say that if you win warfare and lose prep, you don't?
Yeah.
No. So you can
Really?
lose. Yeah. So last SVS, we lost prep, but we won warfare, and we retained governor, and the other state did not have their governor.
That's what it is.
So the only real advantage to winning prep is obviously the points that you'll get on the ranks, but
or no, I'm sorry, they do retain so sorry, if you win prep but you lose warfare, your state still does retain governor, and I think it's the last governor that held it that gets it again.
Continues on.
But if you lose prep and win warfare, you get governor still.
Yeah, both states have governor still, but the winning state gets the extra buff increases and the extra packs to give out.
So the advantages, I mean, what are we feeling as far as the advantage of losing prep on purpose then?
To see
David, what do you think?
That's the catch-22 here, is there is no real incentive here right now. Like, that's the problem with state versus state. There is no incentive to win or lose prep stage or warfare, because at the end of the day, great, you get governor if you lose prep, win warfare, or win prep, win war. Like, it doesn't matter what direction you go. The losing state just, again, misses out on some of the extra rewards or buffs or benefits, but there's no real underlying catch to state versus state. Like, it's not, there's no incentive. So,
right.
The fact that somebody would purposefully lose preparation, that right off the bat shows there's no incentive, because if the state is willing to lose preparation in order to gain home field advantage, and great, they win warfare stage, you're still defeating the purpose of state versus state. The purpose of state versus state is to win. and to win every single thing you're going into, whether that's the preparation or the warfare. So what the game needs to do, whether it's mechanics, rewards, whatever the case may be, is re-incentivize what the rewards actually are, or even potentially the way the event runs. Because there should be nobody in the game who's willing to lose prep. Like it should be something you want to win. State versus state is a battle. So you should be battling from start to finish. There's a great strategy there. So the fact that we're dealing with mechanics as they currently stand, there's a great strategy there for sure, undeniably, to lose preparation based off of how you want to plan warfare. But the fact, again, the matter is that you have the ability to choose, and it's no harm to you to choose to lose prep.
Well, I
right?
think
there.
Yeah, and I think they tried to make it have incentive by taking away the government or the governor buffs and the state buffs. But the problem is, like, the older states have no use for that. Like 2 weeks doesn't matter. But newer states absolutely still need that buff. So for them, it's a higher advantage. For us, it's like, it's whatever. It's really just bragging rights.
To be honest, they can actually solve a lot of they can re-incentivize it with just one change. Well, I would say 50-50. Give most people incentive to do it by just putting a fog over the Capitol until it opens. Do you know what I'm saying? The mist that we have where things... 100%. I mean, such an easy thing because they already have that mechanic in the game. We know they do because we see it in all other places. Like when you first start the game, you just in 359. You know, I mean, like just put a fog over it and then have a countdown timer on when it can open, and then everybody just mass porting. You snooze, you lose kind of situation.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I think it would be fun too to see like massive like people hitting quickly trying to get their friends in. It would add another element of like, you know, just another battle element to it. I think it would be so much fun. It would be so easy to do. Why haven't they done that?
Yeah. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And to be honest with you, I think that's the perfect solution. And that is actually an incentive to win prep, to be honest with you. Because here's the thing, if you win prep and you're teleporting into the enemy state, it's no skin off your back. You actually have less stress than the state who lost prep stage, because now the state who lost prep stage, they're the ones defending the capital. Mm-hmm. So they're freaking their butts off because they gotta, you know, have some sort of coordination going. There's a fog here and we have no idea where anybody's going because you can't see, right? So you can't, like, you can map it out, but you can't map it out at the same time. And again, that gives the person who wins prep more incentive because, again, they're not too worried about necessarily where they're porting, because the enemy state, again, they're the ones who have the stress of defending the capital. I think that's a perfect solution to both sides.
But could you imagine like the chaos that would cause? It would be fun chaos to me. Like we would have all this map of like where everybody's going. Okay, Delete's going here, you're going here, and then it opens up and then Delete goes to port, and then there's some big guy that just ported in right there in a spot. Like it would be frustrating as hell, but it would still be a lot of fun. You know, like you could even have targeted people that are sitting outside that are just for getting rid of settlements so that your team could port in. It would just, I don't know, it would just be cool.
It would eliminate the alternate account issue that people experience.
I hate the alt account thing. But the difficulty is, and everybody's like, oh, you hate alts, but you have your alliance porting in with alts. Yeah, because
you don't have a choice.
Fire, you don't have a choice. The minute the first the settlement gets there with alts taking up spots, you have to go and save a spot because they're going to get all of them. So you're kind of forced to play that way, and it sucks. I just can't stand it. I hate them. And like Munchie was like, a 9-minute march to Capitol is ridiculous. When you have to do a 9-minute march.
Why would you want to play if you have to wait? So actually, not only do you have to wait 9 minutes, then you have to wait if your march fails. If you don't have speed ups, you now have to wait for your march to go all the way back to your settlement, not just your march, but everybody else who was in your rally, because they have to have an available march to send to your rally. Yeah. And like, what's the point of playing if you're only able to send reinforcements or a rally every 10 to 20 minutes?
You know, like, the most frustrating thing is playing Capitol and you're sending reinforcements to somewhere, and all of the players that are on the outskirts are trying to reinforce. They're trying to be good active players, But by the time their march gets halfway there, you're like, no, go back, you're going to die. And they're just, because it's 10 minutes for them to get there, so they're distracted by their kids or their bacon that's on the stove, and they're just suiciding all their troops. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a 2,000 recall right there. Stock up on your recalls, everyone.
Yeah, right?
Because you're going to need them.
Yeah, and you have to pay a constant attention to 10-minute marches, which is ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't have to keep your eyes glued on a 10-minute march. But anyway, I don't know. I wish for the fog of war solution. And me too, Munchie. Let's all make a petition. Like, not that that matters, but I'm going to pound AF with the DMs with please, just this is one thing that's so simple that we would love for you to just add a fog. It would be great.
We brought it up multiple streams.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is probably the 6th time that we've brought it up.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the benefit of losing prep stage. We would like the fact that there is no benefit to losing prep stage, like Daedric said, but at this point, and Finn, you'll see it. All of you guys that have never seen an SVS, you'll know exactly what we're talking about when you see it, when there's just, no spot to port around the hive. I mean, we honestly in 359, we're not going to be porting over there anyway because we're still, in our 20s rank, so it's not really a thing that we're going to do. We'll probably do a march from base just to get our points. But all of the people that have not seen an SVS, you'll know exactly what I'm saying because everybody will be there. And you'll have these massive hives around with alts. Anyway, let's see.
It was the funniest thing ever. In 359, infant account, first capital, we sent an 18-minute march to capital. Yep. And I won.
Yeah, we have a screenshot. We kept in Discord, in the RSG State 359 Discord. There's Precious Memories Discord server, a channel, and one of them is delete holding capital in 359 for all of 5 seconds.
Yep.
It was so random. It was so funny. That was the funniest thing ever.
It was
oh yeah, look at this 18-minute march. I'm not going to pay attention to that.
Right,
and then
bam,
boom.
We take it.
Question 4. What are some common rules states have to not hit other settlements during SVS since it's effectively a kill event?
So what 359 is doing, which we don't agree with, is not hitting settlements in the gray area, but everywhere else is fair game still. And that's literally the only thing, but it's just unnecessary.
It really is, because so what happens when we lose, when we win, what if we win prep and we have agreed not to hit anyone in the gray area? We've basically shot ourselves in the foot, because then we are just stuck on the outside while they're holding on to the capital and the towers.
Which is what happened.
Because
we're winning prep.
Because not only do we have, that disadvantage, but is a new state. So you have a lot of new players that don't really understand the whole reinforcing the rallies on a capital yet. So, they've played a couple of them, but really it's a different world when you get into SVS, when you're having to look around for other, all these other alliances going in. It's a ridiculous rule. I'm sorry. At 359, it's ridiculous.
I get playing nice, but it's one hit you got to take. Because then you get ported out. It's not that big a deal.
It's not, right? You're not going to get zeroed from it. You know what is even better? Who was it that asked me this? Why I don't have so much prosperity in my my settlement. And I don't know how this plays into SVS, but the less prosperity you have, you get hit less, because once they hit you one time, your walls fall down and then you get ported out. So they can't just keep continuously battering you and zeroing your troops. So if you have a lot of troops, I'm a fan of less prosperity, less trees and shit like that in my base. So then I get hit once, I get ported out, and you can't find me, bitch. You're done.
Right.
So what?
You're not providing enough oxygen in your base to your troops.
They don't need oxygen.
Let them suffocate.
They need beer and barbecue and some damn guns. Yeah. That's what they need.
Right. They can go to Finn's base for oxygen.
Go to Finn, or Delete's got a pretty base. They can go there.
Finn still make fun of me because I had 45 stoplights on my base.
Yeah. But, it's the same principle, though, for state versus state. You're at the capital. You get hit, you get ported out. So, they're not going to zero you unless they rally you. And if you're getting rallied at capital, you shouldn't be at Capitol.
Kind of deserve it.
Yeah,
you kind of deserve it. If you're there for 5 minutes and you're just like not around.
Yeah, then you should either be
and you're at
bubbled
Capitol,
or not there. if you're not watching.
Enjoy that free random relocator we just gave you.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the beautiful thing with the game, right? Is that you have the ability to bubble and still join rallies. Like the fact that people teleport in and don't bubble, and they're just you're asking to get hit. Period. If you're not a rally leader and you're there to support, bubble, because you're still joining rallies. The bubble doesn't prevent you from joining rallies, and you're not at risk of getting hit and being ported out. The other thing people forget too is, when they get all upset about getting hit, you have a 90% revival rate from the event. If you get your alliance to max out your tickets, you have a 90% revival. So even if you had 2 million troops and you got zeroed, let's just say you got zeroed, you get a 90% revival rate. That's huge. Like at 2 million troops, that's huge. Like you really haven't lost a ton. You can, like, just from, a couple hours and buffs, you can get those troops back in a couple weeks just from hardcore training, right? And having the proper buffs with that. So there's a lot of prevention measures and things in place the game has provided that allows you to get back on track should you, be the misfortunate one in a situation like that.
Yeah. So and we can't convince our state, because we are not at our level, we are casual on 359, because we don't have a lot of spenders. We have a couple people that drop a little bit of dolphin spending, but really honestly we're there just to teach, like Finn and Maz and all of our new RSG fans. They're learning the game and they're enjoying the game at the pace that we're at right now, so we're not really pushing too hard. We would like to get into Reservoir Raid. We'd like to break top 20, but we're like at 21 or 22 now.
22,
like 22.
We're like right there.
So we're close there, but we're at a comfortable pace of growing because we're under the radar. Not too many people mess with us. We're big enough where they don't get messed with too much, but not so, not so big that anybody expects us to do anything. Like, we're not expected to be anywhere.
Right. They kind of leave us alone because they know that we're like vets on the game or whatever, and so they'll come sometimes and ask for advice, and so it's pretty much guaranteed us that they leave us alone.
And they also know that we've got loud mouths and we're gonna bitch if you come at us with some crazy stuff. Like we've done that. Fury and I have both got into some heated arguments about, like, you don't know what you're talking about, stop doing this. But anyway, it's a comfortable spot. But so I don't even remember where the hell I was going with this at all. What was I talking about?
Like our impact in state versus state.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of impact as far as like getting them to change the rules. However, that's not really a big deal. Like I said, we're not going to be at Capitol. So our role, I think, in State 359 as a level, because I'm just trying to explain the different levels of your alliance and what they can do. Our role is just going to be tormenting the other state while they're battling it out for, we'll get our medals and our points, but then just hitting other areas for our fighters that want to fight. I think that's kind of our role, not to give too much of our strategy away, but that's obviously not a hidden strategy. Everybody's going to have it. So,
come hit us.
Yeah,
whatever.
Come hit us. Do it.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Right? Give us the points. That's fine.
Yeah.
Seriously.
We can definitely play defensively at this point. We kind of know.
Yep.
So it's every state's going to have their different strategy as far as where they're playing. But the other rules that they have statewide naps, which is basically, and we do this on 125 too, is prep during the prep phase, and when we're trying to like heal and recover after post-war phase, we do a statewide nap, which even if we're all fighting and angry, we kind of try to stick to that fairly close, is just not hitting each other and not like stealing those resources and not stealing those the speed ups, the heals, and all of those things from your state mates before this prep stage.
Are you saying Finn in chat?
What?
Finn's going bananas right now.
Because he knows. So he's accepted the fact that like we're all going to be busy in our main states, and so him and Maz are going to be alone in 359 having to defend while we're telling everybody to come hit us.
We need
we'll set you up as a trap base.
We need a couple whale players. Anybody who's a whale that wants to just have a fun state and alliance, come to 359 and join us in there. Because that way you can protect Finn and his little tree farm.
Right. I'll reinforce you, Finn. You'll be fine.
Chat in 359 is fire. It's worth it just
It really is. We have a blast in 359 chat. Yeah. It really is.
It's solid. It's solid. It's very fun. We just, it's a place to have fun. That's
Let's see. So the nap is good. That's the state. Do you guys do that in 42, Daedric? Do you stick to the nap if you have one?
Pardon my French on the stream, but fuck rules. You're doing state warfare. There's no such thing as rules. You can hit shit left and right. Doesn't matter. It's part of the game.
Okay, now that we got Daedric's opinion on it, Fury, do you guys have a nap that he just doesn't participate in, or do you guys say no?
Oh no, the state has a nap, but he and his alliance don't participate in it, so.
So it's a nap for everyone but Daedric's alliance.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't play on that state.
Yeah, I mean, you got his opinion right there, so.
I am so glad I don't play on state 42 so that I can be friends with Daedric, because otherwise I would probably not be able to. I would be like, you son of a bitch. I can't believe you're doing this.
I would be like, you know what? I respect you. Let me into your alliance so I can't get hit. I'm going to follow you around. I'm going to be your protege.
No.
My glory days are long done. I'm not the biggest fish in the tank, so no one's really worried anymore.
It's not, it's like, okay, so this Devon at state 80, it's because in state versus state, your state is supposed to work together to win for your state. If you don't put a nap in and everyone's still just killing each other, then what's the point of doing versus state? I mean, you're supposed to come together and strategize together and put your differences aside for a short amount of time. Like, everybody can do that. I mean, if you can't, then you probably shouldn't play war games.
That's kind of the intent behind SVS, is to build alliance of state. You're making your state an alliance against another state, just like you're having your alliance against other alliances in your own state. It's kind of just like leveling up.
You should be working together. Why work against each other? So you want your state to fail. You don't want
much fun.
Shut up, dude. Like, oh.
Because we get reactions like that. That's why it's fun.
I feel when for you, sweet that, tits.
I'm so done with him. You have no idea.
I feel for you. I can feel the frustration vibrating from your little badger.
I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
When you said that, it made me feel like you were the Milton Bradley Monopoly man. Just going in so much fun, just taking and foreclosing on everyone's properties. Just taking them all.
Yeah. Yes. You're going to the poorhouse. It's so much fun. It's so mean. Broke. It's so mean.
You're broke.
I know.
I won and you're
Everybody
broke.
just eats it up.
But I can see where he does probably get a... I mean, everybody has fun their own way.
I'm sure that method is a lot of fun. I'm sure it is. It's just really frustrating when you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to play together and play the game, and you're fighting not only one entire state, but another strong alliance in your own state who think it's okay to sit there while you're getting attacked from this other state and go burn your own state's settlements. It literally gives you nothing in the event. You don't get points, you don't get resources, so why do it?
To make you mad.
Right, to get a rise out of people, because I don't know what benefit that gives you.
It doesn't give any. That's somebody that's bored.
I am getting pure enjoyment out of this conversation.
Yeah, y'all are about to make Fury furious. Fury's about to go full fury.
I've been furious. I've been furious for months. I'm so done with this shit. Our state is such a mess, and I mean, it is what it is, and the majority of the state will play as one in however many hours it is going to be in now, and we'll just deal with it like we did last time.
So this is why you're still on 359 so much, basically.
Yeah, right, because why should we keep dealing with that?
I mean, yeah, that's the danger
and keep
in
laughing.
playing that
keep laughing,
way.
Daedric.
That's the danger in playing that way, is because then you run everybody out of your state.
Yep.
I mean,
but
it's
entertainment. Yeah.
Oh, did you just drop the earbud? The brand new earbuds.
It went so far. It went so far.
Off the porch?
It's
far?
Yeah. That's like, thank God. I don't even know.
I mean,
I don't even know. I'm not worried about it.
But, right. It is what it is. It's our own state drama. We tried to talk about it. If he doesn't want to work it out and he just walk away from the conversation, then do it. I don't, whatever.
Delete.
Anyways.
Do you feel like we're on an episode of Jerry Springer?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody hide the chairs. Hide the chairs.
I'm Steve. I'm bodyguard Steve.
We need Dr. Phil in an episode of Intervention. I think
you're over it. She's past that point, buddy. It's on to
well, because he walks away from the conversation, and the last time that we tried to have the conversation, he was definitely ganged up on. But then, instead of trying to fix it, you just walk away, and it's just the two of us. We could try and work it out at some point. But then every time that I've tried to work this out with the alliance that he's in, what they do is they agree at the time, and then when it comes to the time for them to actually act on something, it just all the shit gets thrown out, and they're back to bullshit, and it's really frustrating. So why do it?
I feel like Silver's alliance had the same thing, where they had a Russian alliance that was just like, yeah, we're good. No, we'll help you out, and then just absolutely just turned savage and crushed them, and they lost state for state because of it. It was just like, man, how just I get seeing the point of watching the world burn, but when you come to an agreement,
and then you go back on it.
That's some next level treachery. But if you play the game for that, though, that is the
if you were a sus in the beginning, if you were suspect from day one, I honestly would say that anybody that tries to make an agreement might be on the losing side always of that.
Yeah. That would turn into literally, it would, if that was a scenario and it was I was the stronger alliance, it'd be like, you guys will never do trap again. Because as soon as you open that thing, our entire alliance is going to just burn.
You never get to do trap.
You're just never going to do. We might actually destroy your trap while you're trying to.
And when you're in Reservoir Raid, all of your farms, everybody else that's not in Res Raid is burning.
For the next 3 months, if anyone sets out to go and farm, we're going to burn that farm down like you wouldn't believe. That's the next level shit. That's you guys really want to play?
That's the hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. That would be I would do. I would be like, you know what? I'm going down in a blaze of glory, and then I'll go to 359 and play. That's what you should do,
what's funny? What's funny with that? You turn into the monster you despised.
Completely. But at a certain point.
So then, who are you letting actually win at the end of the day if you turn into the monster?
Listen, don't use your evil logic with us, mister.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear it.
Also, you were just showing someone how fun it could be to actually do that to someone else. I am in complete agreement with if you can turn it on evil, do it.
You're just jealous because you can't be evil. You have never been able to be evil, and you know it.
No.
Well, I don't like to play like that.
I don't either.
No. I don't like to, if I'm going to knock you down and then I'm going to be like, let me help you up. I'm not going to pull my hand back. I'm actually going to help you up.
So what we were saying earlier, most states do create a nap. I know that I've seen a bunch of people in chat going, oh, that's boring. Yes, I can see it being boring to have a nap for SVS prep time. But, it's according to what your state likes to play. And, I prefer not to, as I'm farming and doing all these things and worrying about trying to kill all these infected and stuff like that, it would be nice not to worry about somebody burning me. But it's up to every. I mean, hey McVenom, how you doing? Looking cute as always. Thank you. Hello, Thane.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first time Thane is actually nice in a super chat. He's usually trolling me, so I will take it. Thank you very much. Okay, what question are we on? Let's move on to get this tension out of the way.
It's got to at least be number 2. I got to get that earbud. I have to.
I have to. What are some... Okay, we did that one. Number 5. If you win prep stage, when you go to the other state's capital, can you attack your own state's alliances if they are in the cannon towers and capital? If so,
yes.
why?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you can technically attack, but like you don't get any points from it or anything. I don't know. Again, I don't know why you would, unless you were, or there really is no reason to, unless you were actively fighting against your own state.
And I think the reason why that's allowed is because it would be very difficult if they made a rule, like a hard stop for every time you tried to set a rally on a tower. If your state's members were in the tower already, it would be very difficult to set timing, triple when you're doing the triple rallies and when you're trying to because Finn hasn't seen it yet, but those towers change so quick as far as possession of them, even capital, everything changes so quick. It would be very hard, and you have to time it. We might have one alliance is holding the tower, but then they're going to pull out to take another one, and you have to set your rally 5 minutes ahead of when they want to pull out, and things like that are just too complicated to set a rule about no hitting.
Right. Got to have strong pull-out game during capital.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. So
very vital part of capital.
Okay, number 6. What are we at? Yeah, 6. Oh, there was a question in between. Don't let me forget that question, guys. Number 6 is, what if you were free to play and ranking in top 100 in SVS prep, but the rest of your alliance, minus a couple people, Hi Nero and Maz, are slacking? I don't know if you're directing that at anybody in particular, like me and Fury and Delete, but what do you mean, what if? That just means that you're ranking top 100 and good for you. It means that we're busy, or maybe we just don't have the speed ups, and I just honestly, I don't think, wait a minute, I might be in top 100. I'm not. And then somebody else asked, what are we ranking right now? What were some of our points in the SVS prep? Who was it that asked that? I feel like it was Ruse that asked that.
I feel like 125 is crushing it.
Okay.
Absolutely crushing it. At 1.9 versus... I don't want the State Warfare bundle. I get it. Oh, now it's crashed. The game's just crashed on me.
I can't find Rue's question, but I think he was like, what is everyone's point tally? Okay, question, what were your solo scores for prep stage solo ranking? Mine was 40.8 million. I feel like that was a humble brag right there. I'm going to ask this question and throw my point tally in there. But mine for 359 was crap, and mine 125 was crap, to be honest. Like, I've just been working, and I've gotten my gifts, like my 3. I've hit my 3 targets. Yeah, once I hit those, I'm like, I just don't have the time to be doing it. And honestly, I've not spent any money. I've not spent a lot more money on the game ever since there were some changes that I wasn't really happy with. I haven't spent hardly anything on the game anymore. Just because, I'm waiting to see what they do with it. And so I don't have a lot of speed ups. I don't have a lot of extra stuff. And I'm a terrible hoarder. So I'll hit my 3 gifts. And then also we kind of went back on like trying to be top in it, because we know that there's also a distinct advantage to losing. So if you don't have the means to push, don't push. Because there's not an advantage to pushing at this point right now. Especially if I know that there's a lot of spenders in that state that I'm not going to get top 100 easily. So that's your answer, Ben. Fine. You're great. You're a free-to-play genius. Is that what you want to hear?
Right.
He is a free-to-play genius.
And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, loyal watcher. She means.
Yeah, Finn, why aren't you on?
Thank Harrell, $5 question. If I got a refund for all of my RSG donations and put it into SOS, would I be in game? Finn, maybe you can contribute to the math. You'd probably be, you'd be running State 359. Thane's been a long time RSG watcher, like a long time, and he donates super chats almost every stream I do just to troll me a little bit, every single chat. So he would probably be pretty high up there on State 359 for sure. Am I missing any other questions?
Something to consider.
I know, right? Can't get refunds though. We've already spent those on trips to go meet up in Florida. I think Finn's in there discussing game mechanics and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So we were talking about state versus state. I feel like that's all the questions. Did we go over anything? Like, is there anything else to go over that people might be confused about, questions wise? I feel like most people were confused about like the buffs and how the buffs apply and when they don't apply and all of that stuff. People were confused about the after thing. I think that's what we're going to have a lot of the healing phase. There's going to be a lot of questions about the healing phase. Who is really super familiar? Daedric, you are, because yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about the healing phase and when that starts. That starts right after end of prep. Yeah. End of war stage.
So at the end of war stage, actually, it's a couple days that the event actually goes on because you get rewards for hitting targets. So you actually get, they call it healing recuperation or something events. So you do get rewards from it. So they're very small, but stuff nonetheless. So you get a base percentage return. I believe it's 30% recuperation. You can go up to a maximum of 90. So you'll notice on SOS official and even Stickies, people posting reports, like people will go through 1 million troops. Like they'll kill off 1 million of their troops. So people will waste a lot of their army because you do get a large portion of it back. The trick is having farms and alternates to help you. So the benefit to approaching the success of recuperation stage is when the healing stage starts, you want to focus on who took the heaviest losses, because those are the people right off the bat you want to get to 90%. So within your alliance internally, everyone is spending their tickets towards individuals who lost the majority. And then for the rest of the alliance, because of course you want to get as many people to 90% as possible, that's where your farm alliances and alternate alliances come into play. So if you have a farm alliance or an alternate alliance, is getting them to join the main alliance that you're recovering. They'll spend their tickets on whoever's remaining that needs the 90%. And there's also been state cooperation. So states that have fought against each other, they've actually made alternates in each other's states just for scouting purposes. But since they have an account there already, they'll actually use that account to join alliances and help them out. So great example, when we versed State 29, we had a great relationship with them where they had a lot of alternates and farm accounts that they had made in our State 42 and just ended up joining a whole bunch of alliances to provide ticket support. Mm-hmm. And so that really, really helped out. So having the other state participate in the recuperation, that's a really good arrangement to have going into state v state, especially if it was a great competition and you have a good relationship coming out of it. The key is to do it within the time limit. So you'll notice that there is a countdown. So if you select the Dead Troop Revival menu when the event is happening, it'll give you a timer. Now here's the problem. If your timer runs out, you lose the troops. You have to revive them before the timer runs out. There's been cases where people have lost hundreds of thousands of troops because they did not do it before the timer was over. So very, very important that you're just watching the timelines of the event and that you're getting to your 90% before you hit the button revive, because once you hit the revival button, you're done.
Wow.
So that's the first time I've heard about this corporation thing where like actually other states will join in and use their alts to, I mean, like, is that just to be nice, or is it because they worked out a pre-agreement, or?
No, it's just it's part of the sportsmanship. That's all it is sportsmanship is because you had an account there already. Because generally when you match up with your state, a lot of people will create an alternate account in that state that they're facing for scouting purposes. So the fact that they already have an account created in the opposite state that they were versing, people just do it to show good sportsmanship. Hey, great fight. Here, here's some tickets for me to help you out. It's just a show of good faith.
That's pretty awesome. We honestly, I'm trying to think, in 125, it's always kind of like it's a little bit chaotic because we're trying to put together who lost the most in our alliance, and it's always like, oh, I lost so many, but like, who lost the most? Trying to pinpoint that down. So I think we're going to be doing like a lot of screenshots, show us what you have in your enlistment or whatever right now, and go from there. And tell everybody not to use their points at all. Don't use your tickets at all until we figure this out, and then start using them. But how long is the time limit again? How long is that time frame that you can use those?
I believe it's 24 hours.
Hours, yeah.
How many?
24 hours.
I mean, trying to organize that and get everybody on board, like focused on one thing. I wish they would extend that just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Because as R5, I nominate you to take care of that.
Oh man, not that.
You sound like you would be. You've got a handle on it already.
I mean, I have been thinking about it. I'm like, I obviously am so slack and everything else. I'm like, how can I like do something that like in one day that I can do? Because other times I won't be able to do it through the week. But that would be something that I probably would organize. I would help. Nikki, she's Mrs. On Point with organizing stuff, so I'll just kind of be like her secretary with it. We had some super chats. Oh, thank you. Bo Carter said, no crap, just supporting. Y'all are awesome. $6. Thank you so much, Bo. We appreciate it. Glad that you found us. And then we also have Bean with $4.99 with her little dancing. I feel like that's a bean. Is that a bean? Dancing bean? It looks like it, but it's kind of like a pear, though, I think.
Yeah, it's like a
But I feel like it's just a misshapen bean because her name's Bean. I think it's cute. We'll just call it a bean. We appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. Finn, was there any questions you said there were some questions in 359 chat that were cool, so. Oh, Ranger, I missed your donation. I'm sorry. I did not see it. I swear. I'm terrible about it. I apologize. Thank you so much, Ranger. Question, what do I have to do in order to be able to use Ranger to farm kills? You have to make an account on 359 and then just try to hit him and see what happens.
Just make sure I'm not on.
Yeah, you make sure all of us are on because we would defend him.
He'll get a pretty good stat buff from that.
Danger, I need you to stop trolling right now and stop being a nasty thing. It's not cool. That's not cool. Also, Defender, like, you guys, we're just here. We're having a good time. We can have arguments amongst us and keep it respectful, and you don't have to be, like, nasty. Like, let's not do any personal insults and stuff like that. Come on. Y'all can do whatever you want on your Discords. Duke it out wherever you want, but not in the chat. Jose Palominos, the latest 3 heroes can be swapped from male to female. Do they have different advantages?
Wow, I never put that. No, Tyler's not a female. But before that, I never even actually took into account the male to female switch.
I didn't even think about that either. Like, but that doesn't come into play at all. Like, whether they're male or female, that doesn't matter.
But exchange them as fast as you can.
Exchange them, because even my level 40s are
just
10 times better than my. Where can I duke it out with you, McVenom? $2 from Thane. Go ahead.
Oh, no, unless you want, because they're not great at Explorer. Unless you're like a big Explorer mission person, don't exchange. But if you're not, and you just you do rallies and stuff like that, you need them. Yeah. The stat buffs are too big.
Gotcha. Thane, thank you. Where can I duke it out with you, McVenom? 359 or 125? Come join us. Get an account there, Thane, and we'll see what happens.
No. Oh, God.
He's actually a very good gamer. He's really good at games, so he would be fun to play with. I'd be welcoming it. Danger said, haha, Day is my buddy. Oh, if you're friends, that's fine. If you're trolling your friend, that's okay. I didn't know if it was serious or not. I was about to be defensive. Anybody that comes on the stream, I don't let people talk nasty to them in stream. It's not fair. It's not nice. Let's see.
Not cool to be mean.
It's not cool to be. I don't mind people being mean and like having an argument that's like an intelligent argument with facts on either side. But when you start bringing personal insults and like the way somebody looks or something like that, come on. No, don't do that. 1 Gallon question during CC: if I switch to eco talents, does this affect the rally I join? Also, do any buffs that I buy with biocaps get added to the rally stats, or is it pointless? You mean after you've joined a rally? Is that what he's meaning? Thank you. So those are really good questions. So during CC, if I switch to eco talents, does this affect the rally I join? So he's meaning, I have had this question too, like if you're in it and then you switch while you're in it, does what you joined with apply or does it change? Do you know? Delete?
I've reached out to customer service to get them to answer this question because I feel like it changes and has changed. Like when you, for instance, if I set a rally, a 5-minute rally, and I go ahead and join, and I started in war, and then I go to eco before the rally launches, right? You know, is it when it hits that it takes the stats, or when it isn't that it takes the stats? You know, like
or when it launches.
When it,
yeah.
When it launches, exactly. So when it launches, when it leaves your settlement, or when it hits? Because there's literally 3 points of contact that you could have that it can probably change. And the overall like rally damage calculation is probably the biggest hidden thing in the game. You know, because it's like, okay, every troop gets the rally setter stats. Now, it does make a difference if you have everyone in your rally has plasma, you know, plasma 5s versus, you know, with less stats or higher stats and less plasma. You know, there's a chance that it might not go ahead and like, you know, come out the way that you think. You know, that's like a big thing. Like that battle mechanic is kind of like a hidden secret. That is the Coca-Cola original recipe that you just can't find. That and like which skills apply. You know, because I had a question and I thought I was answering it correctly, but then it was like looking through in our rally as far as like which skills go into effect. You know, is it the first 3 people that join your rally? Is it the 5th, 6th? Is it different captains? You know, there's a lot under the veil that unfortunately it's all speculation. Right now, there is no right answer that I know of that makes rhyme or reason to like, okay, it's the first 4 people that join your rally, or it's the, you know, it's different heroes, or do the stats compound? You know, if it's like, if I've got Jeb and everyone in my rally has Jeb, you know, is it 90, you know, is it 125% damage, you know, boost? It's tough to know, unfortunately. You know, I mean, there's certain scenarios that I've seen where it appears that it doesn't matter and it's different stats, and then there's certain scenarios that I've seen that it's the exact same and it does, you know, and it does matter. So it's weird. That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Have you heard anything about that? Yeah, that was a great question. Daedric, have you heard anything about buffs hitting, whether it hits when you set or when it lands? If you change it or you change it into economy after you set one, does it change it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So how it works is once the march is on its way, so actually I'm going to use an example for you just so we can understand an example. So it's better if I do it that way. So when you do Alliance Showdown, I'm going to use that as a great example. When you do Alliance Showdown and you send in a march to participate in whichever lane you decide to go in, you have to resend the march if your buffs change during that time. So if I submit a march into Alliance Showdown and I have 120% damage boost, and then I decide to activate a 12% on top of that, I have to go back into Showdown and send a brand new march to include that change in buffs, because the march is already out. So to apply that to real live gameplay, it's the same situation where, I might be holding, or I might be sending a rally. Once something is already submitted, you'd have to recall it for that change to take effect. So it works the same way as Showdown, very, very similar fashion.
So, because we've tried testing it a couple times and we couldn't figure it out, because like I agree with delete. It looks like it sometimes changes here or there. Like 1 minute we're like, oh no, this definitely doesn't apply, and then sometimes it looks like it applies. So you're saying that we can have one set, and then when we set the rally, if we change it at all, we need to recall and reset. So it's only before you set the rally. Is that what you said?
If you want something to take effect and for it to apply, it has to be active before the march has already been submitted.
Just like in Showdown.
Yeah, very, very similar, which is why I'm using Showdown as an example.
No, that's a good analogy. That's a good reference for it, honestly.
Because I'm like, during Capital, it's like I'll be in war, set a rally, right? And then I'll switch to Eco, to go ahead and heal for that 5 minutes, and then so my rally's already been sent technically, but I guess it might be when it actually leaves my settlement.
No, he's saying it's when you submit the rally with troops. When you set the rally, that's when it takes it. Correct, Daedric? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Another great example, just to help the understanding. This is a great one because it happens all the time when you fix your march capacity. So if you switch from Eco to War, your march sizes are vastly different, right?
Yeah.
You'll notice that doesn't, if you're sitting in a building, it doesn't kick troops out. You still have the same march as when you submitted it the first time, switched back and forth or not, right?
Good point.
Where it'll affect you, and this is the tricky part where you have the time, is once you switch to Eco, if you're a person in a supporting role versus the rally lead, that's where it can take effect. Because if I have to pull out of a tower and I appoint a guy head of the tower, he's an Eco class. Now we're screwed because he's not on War, right? And that's where, people talk a lot about, hey, your rally leader's on War, everybody else is on Eco. That's the tricky part, because you want to have a backup. So what I suggest doing when you take a building is have one person in your rally that's a backup, that if you need to pull out and you can appoint them as leader, they're sitting on War and not on Eco, because you're going to screw everybody else in that tower.
Oh, yeah, to appoint as lead. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
because even the march capacities change in the building. So when you appoint a new leader in a structure, the amount of troops that fit in that structure change based on who's head of that building. Mm-hmm. So if I have 1.1 million capacity and I appoint somebody who has 900 capacity, the game, funny enough, the game does not kick them out. But if you lose enough troops where it goes back to that lower limit, you can't get back to 0.1.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so if you're let's say you're sitting in a tower, and it was controlled by a rally. You sent a rally off in War, or with your 30-minute with a buff on, right? Whatever that's about to run out, and then you get to the tower, through a rally, and you're sitting in there, just sitting there holding the tower, and then you get pointed to leader, and let's say all those buffs run out, that doesn't change because of what you set with those buffs on? Does that?
Well, here's the thing, if your buffs have expired, they're gone. So
let's say my 30-minute max march buff, I know this doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying? Like, does it still apply because I set the rally with something?
No, so what ends up, so that's the thing. So there's permanent buffs and temporary buffs. Now the temporary buffs are very different. So if I'm currently sitting in a structure and my temporary buff expires, my march capacity will reduce. Those particular stats that went along on top of that expire. So if somebody were to hit me, I'm now stuck with the buffs that I had prior to the temporary ones. So they're completely gone. So even my march size goes down. Mm-hmm. And so again, if I'm at a 1.1 and I drop down to a 900,000, the 1.1 will still stay there. But if enough troops get injured where it drops below the 900,000 threshold, I can't go back above the 900,000 because that buff is.
Gotcha. So so I think where I'm trying to answer this question for Juan is that, let's say, do any buffs that I buy with biocaps get added to the rally stats, or is it pointless? So obviously, if you've already joined the rally, those buffs, anything that you buy, the buffs that you apply, let's say the 25 attack, the attack boost buff, if you've already set that on a rally, it's not going to apply to those troops.
So if you've bought a buff and your march, and this is the hilarious part, if you've purchased a buff and it's on its way, the buff will apply.
See, this is why this is confusing as shit.
But that's why delete's correct.
Yeah.
So delete is 100% correct, and that answer that he gave you is 100% correct. There's so many inconsistencies with how the mechanics actually work. Swapping from eco to war, and if I have a march already going, does the buff apply? That's a tricky thing because you could say the same thing for my research. Let's say I have a research going right now for war, and it's to increase attack of hunters. Let's say my march is on its way. If I were to complete that research while the march is on its way, the buff applies. It's a permanent buff, so it doesn't go away. It applies. Same thing, if I bought a temporary one, the temporary one will apply even if my march is already out. But if the temporary buff expires, I lose it if I'm mid-march, or I lose it if I'm already in the building, if it expires.
Okay.
I've also had the question of, like, if you're a rally joiner and you go ahead and go, you know what? I've got so many random attack buffs because we keep winning these attack bunker, and I'm just going to go ahead as a rally joiner and boost my own attack. Does that make the overall rally that much stronger? Even though my stats are the ones that go on the report.
Overall? No, I think it just does your troops, right?
I mean, because it's like, my stats are the ones that show up on the report, but overall rally power also matters, So, like, if I've got my exact rally and I take every one of our players that does not have, plasma troops, but, and I hit someone, I lose, if I go ahead and hit that same person and they have the same exact makeup, but yet I put all of my plasma troops in there is a difference. My stats stay exactly the same, but the overall rally power does change. So it almost begs to see, like, oh, maybe my, if I put buffs as a rally joiner, maybe, it does apply. So there's that, like, there's no way to truly know, because the situation is especially in this game, there's no way to exactly replicate everything that you do, unless you have an extremely meticulous, like, another alliance that you're friends with, that you can go and say, okay, I want you to go ahead and start a rally, and we're just going to do 50,000 troops. Everyone else has the same breakdown, and I want one person to activate a buff, and I want, and the other alliance doesn't activate the buff, and as a rally joiner, and then kind of launch the rallies at each other. But that's almost impossible to go ahead and just, like, map out, and really replicate and get scientific with it as far as, like, how exactly you can do it, because everyone's at a little bit different in research. Everyone's at a little bit different level in just about every category. There's no way to really stack it up as equal to equal, unless you're, like, starting completely brand new farm accounts and you're doing it that way. There's no way to really scientifically break down how this game's battle mechanics actually cooperate. So it's tough. There is, and that's also part of the good of the game, because it's, you never want to exactly know that you're going to win or exactly know that you're going to lose, because then there's no reason to play. You know what I mean? So
funny example. I set a rally the other day, and while the rally was running, so people were joining it, so it was just in the joining stage, but it was active. I activated my massive march. It increased the march capacity of the rally, even though the rally was already active. It still increased it. So more people could join the rally when the buff was activated during the rally joining stage.
Yeah. If you did it after you already sent it, then it's just more rally joiners can join. You can increase your own. Like if it's 150,000, before you put on Mega March, and then you start the rally and then you put Mega March on, you can't send another 30,000 or whatever the case may be to increase your own, but everyone else can kind of benefit. You might be able to get one more person in there, which typically I do. So this way, trying to figure out whose skills actually go in, is it the first four? Maybe the last person that joins has a different hero as a captain, and it might join that way. So it's completely random. It's random. The customer service response was absolutely useless.
We have a server for questions and answers, like trying to get devs to answer some of these questions, and that is one of the biggest ones that is asked, and that is the biggest one that is dodged. Like the rally joining heroes and how they apply, what's the algorithm for whose buffs get applied, whose skills get applied, like that. We just cannot get a straight answer. Yeah. Can't get a straight answer. And I honestly don't know. I don't know if they know.
Yeah, the answer I got was, it goes from top to bottom, left to right. And I go, that's literally what the answer was. Top to bottom, left to right. And I go, what?
Left
so I
to
go,
right.
as a rally setter, all three of my skills apply, because everyone's using the same three heroes in 125, right? So they're using basically the brand new heroes. But does it make a difference because one person's skill might be a little bit better? Like, hey, maybe I go ahead and throw Tyler out there as my captain, see what that does, get his 15% against infantry damage up. Like, try and throw something else out there as opposed to just being like, my infantry hero, I've got more infantry, so let me go ahead and use my infantry hero. Let's try and game the game in that respect. No,
right.
I got top to bottom, left to right.
Well, and
I
Devin,
was like, what?
Yeah, and Devin, we know that it prioritizes the level 5 first skill, but if everyone joining has a first skill that's level 5, then what's the priority?
Who gets
then?
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question. It's not like, that's...
Yeah. Or if you get everyone that joins with Jeb,
Because,
or you're just getting a tremendous attack boost, is it taking every single, 25% damage buff? Is that what it's doing? Like, if everyone joins with Sarge, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like it does that.
Well, for a while there, they were saying that it was the top. So, like, if everybody has a Jeb, then it's going to take the top strongest of the Jebs.
Yeah, it'll take the first Jeb that has the highest DP.
But that didn't win out, though. That wasn't. Now it's not that way because we've tried doing that and it doesn't work that way,
but
right?
Then it'll be like, all right, there's another person with Jeb, right? There's another person with Jeb, but it still says one skill in effect. Now, what skill is it taking if everyone's got Jeb? Is it taking your next hero? And then if it takes your next hero, is it taking the first skill, the second skill, the third?
It only takes the first, though, right?
Who knows?
Well, that's the other part that changed is captains used to matter. Having your first hero in the rally was a huge factor in the first 8 months of the game. Now, according to doing rallies and PvP and trap and whatever, doesn't matter who your captain is because the same skills apply, the same buffs apply, the same whatever applies. It makes absolutely no difference if you have infantry, hunter, or rider at the head of your march. It's identical. So what is the purpose of a captain?
Right. And I was even looking, I was like, you even watch the battle replay on like the battle report. It always works out and lists everyone the same. And what bothers me actually tremendously about that too is sometimes it'll switch the colors. You won't always be on the left.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be like, it'll show you in blue, and then the battle report, when you replay it, will show you in red. And then you've got to go ahead and figure out, like, wait a second, I was actually red right now because this is our troop designation. And that's maddening because you're trying to, like, make sense of a game that doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of time, unfortunately. But, I mean, it's still like, hey, you flip a coin, and like, oh, there's a couple extra ridges on this side. Like, that's basically as minute as I'm trying to get. And it's still, there's no exact science to go ahead and say, I'm definitely going to win this, or I'm definitely going to lose this.
I have to do a super chat. Juan Gallon said $4.99. He said he appreciates your time. That was the question we were trying to answer for Juan about the buffs applying in the March, and we kind of got off on another tangent. We tend to do that. We go off we'll answer one question and it goes off into something else.
Yeah. Shortest long stream ever. Yeah. Or the longest short stream ever.
Yeah.
It's never been an hour.
Patient Zero wanted to know, who do you guys reckon will win on S35 versus S42?
Ooh, I'm going 42.
I'm going 42 too, as well. 42 too. Because, my friends are there, so I'm hoping that they win. But I'm ready to watch it. I wish you guys would live stream it. That would be fun.
Yeah, 35. I'm just banking on the numbers. The older state, probably less people active, even though they might be a little bit stronger. Might be falling into a little bit of like, maybe I'll play a little bit, but I don't have as many players playing the entire time. And I really do feel like 42 will probably have a couple more people playing the entire time.
Yeah. So what we can see so far is that it's basically two alliances in 35 that we'll be facing. And Daedric said it earlier, it's YES and BRA. And we can tell that they're making some adjustments, but we definitely have more people that are active. So they have the numbers as far as troops, and they probably have more people that are maxed. But yeah, do they have enough people that are still active? For sure. Like, people will come in and they'll be active and they'll set their showdown. So, but they, you do that for 5 minutes, 1 day a week. And you have Res Raid, and that's usually Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So that's the other day. And are they really going to stay on and play the full 12 hours? Since now it's 12 hours, thank God.
Yeah.
Because if we had to do 24 hours of this would be a really tough fight.
I'm waiting for like state versus state to get so crazy that everyone's changing their name to like 00-*000, and someone else is like 0000**. So you have no idea who's coming at you. You don't know if it's a farm or if it's like someone awesome.
Do you remember that's what Scorn's Alliance did? They had changed their names all like very similar. And he said it was bananas. He said we were like trying to hit each other at some point. Like, it was awful.
Yeah. You don't know if you're, as a rally joiner, you probably have no idea who
do I join? You join the same guy that I just said.
Exactly. Or like an alt that's just like, this is the diversion one. You fucked it up.
I had to clarify something. So Devin S80, no rally doesn't work same way. You can put on a 12% buff during a rally and it will apply. I think you said that, like the temporary 12%, you said that. It will apply during the rally. And then Patient Zero said, not accurate. It gets locked when it starts marching, not when it gets set. Do we know for sure?
Yeah, because I've sent plenty of marches that have been mid-March, and I've activated a buff, and it's applied. I've done that quite often.
I think he's talking about like the talent switches, that it doesn't lock until it's marching versus lock when it's set.
Yeah, I see what he's saying. In that regard, yes, he's correct.
Okay. So that means if you set a rally with your war, then you need to wait till it starts marching before you can reset it to economy.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and sorry, also
I thought he was talking about like physical activating individual
gotcha. Thank you for the clarification, also, Patient Zero. Go ahead.
Pay attention to that, because if you're switching talents, right, like your war talents will have a faster march. So if you're giving out times of like to try and sync up a rally to go both hit, capital at the same time, make sure that you're both on war talents when you're going ahead and doing that. That was a mistake that I made because I was healing when I go ahead and said I am 2 minutes and 32 seconds away from capital.
Oh yeah.
And then I went and I was like, oh shit, I switched back to war and it was like I'm 2 minutes and 11 seconds away from capital. So that will completely change the dynamic of how you set things. Because as a rally, and it pisses me off actually. Because as a rally setter, I am taking extreme amounts of losses. One hit, and my base is, I'm all maxed out gear. I've got like 2 things left in all of battle research to do, and I'll hit our strongest player, or there's basically 3 players that are basically the exact same position I am in my state, and I'll go ahead and stay in war talents and have 5 days worth of healing after 1 attack. That's an incredible amount to heal after 1 attack. And as a rally setter, it's extremely punishing. And I understand the game has to go ahead and protect, the fact that I can't just be a battering ram, where I can, where the rest of my rally joiners lose, 10%, or lose 30% and I lose 5. I understand the dynamic where you just can't keep sending me out, but at the same time, it shouldn't be that penal, because this game has protected its spenders more so than just about any other game that I've played. And in this scenario, it's no longer protecting the spender. So that's awful. But that's
that's a great point you brought up, and I actually asked the question before I left SOS Official because I couldn't tolerate the craziness in there anymore. But I got somewhat of an answer, and it was along the lines of exactly what you said, Delete, is at the beginning, for the time that we experienced it, they were protecting the rally leader, because if we're the ones always doing the rally, it makes sense for us to be the battering ram. And also what made sense is if you have lower level players joining your rally, they're the ones who are going to take the damage because they don't have the, the high tier troops like you do, or the, maybe they don't have plasma and you have plasma. And then it turned into this, now the people joining your rally are getting protected because they don't have the same capacity you do in research, gear, troops, etc. So it was ironic because the game literally took a shift of protecting the spender to now we're going to protect the people joining the rally, because since there's an expectation that you're constantly going to be leading rallies, it's the rally leader who should be taking the damage and not the people joining the rally, because they don't have, as much to contribute, or whatever the reason was. It wasn't a very clear explanation, but it was exactly to your point. The mindset completely shifted, and thus it affected the mechanics. And that's the issue with these questions that keep coming up, that we can't answer. Like nobody can answer them. Like you can go to SOS Official, you can contact customer service, you can get whatever answer you want. The devs themselves have to specifically tell us, clear and concise, this is how the mechanics work right now. And when they change, we're going to tell you how they work when they change. We've never been given an answer. So nobody can truly say, not me, not Delete, not anybody asking the question, no one can answer what's actually going on right now because it keeps changing.
Yeah. I mean, not for nothing, it kind of works out both ways, because if I've got less people joining my rally, I'm not as strong. If I can't launch as many rallies, I'm also not as strong. But the difference is you're hurting the people that have gone ahead and just contributed to the game. I have like, it's like, not that I'm like, oh, I pay my taxes. You can't treat me like this. It's not like that, but it sort of is. Like I helped build your game, and now I'm getting punished by your game. And it wasn't always like that. So you sold me like an ill bill of goods. I mean, that's not the way that it was supposed to be. And there were like scenarios where like another alliance in our state was actually doing like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just layer in like a bunch of tier 3 troops to just go ahead and soak up all the damage. They'll go ahead and soak up all the wounded because clearly they're going to die. And then all my T10s will be protected. And for a while, that was actually working really well. But then that game mechanic has also changed, So it was like, oh, right now the game is putting it where like, all right, if this was a real life army, I'm going to put my best soldiers on the front line, and they're going to die first. And all the weak soldiers are going to go ahead and stay alive. And that just doesn't seem right in any sort of way. But that's my own little quarrel with the game right now.
My quarrel with the game is that they don't keep the stats freaking consistent and don't give information about what they mean. Like this whole rally joining thing, this should be a mechanic this is the mechanics of a rally. This is the mechanics of joining a rally, and this is how they apply so that we can therefore choose the appropriate heroes and which ones we want to invest in based on that information. And I'm wondering if they keep it vague for that reason, so you don't know which ones are best, which ones you should use, so that you have to spend them on all and test it yourselves. Like, that's my question. It's like, why is this not clear? Because, like, everybody in here is like, there's 10 different people with 10 different explanations of how rally joining skills apply.
Yep.
There's Devin in here with one thing about it always joins at level 5 skills. It's the first 4 always, at least for us. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Not it. Because then if you start sending back people that join and you're like, know what? I don't like your skill. I'll send it back. It does not promote the next person's skill. Like when you're going in and watching people who are joining a rally, if you just start sending people back like, nah, it doesn't change the order of the skills that take effect. So you can't stack your own skills. And some of the epic heroes are actually pretty solid. Like their skills are like, when you read them, it's like, wow, that actually could be of value. Being that my stats are overweighing everything, that extra 25% here and, extra 25% there, if you cascade your heroes, your captains, the way that it's supposed to be in my brain and what it actually is, which probably don't line up at all, the outcome would probably be significantly different. And then that provides value to every person that's joining a rally in the game, everyone that's there. So it's not just like, oh, you know what? You've got every one of you is tier 5, because then I've seen it the other way, where if you have everyone in your alliance or one person in your alliance is Gen 5 heroes and everyone else has Gen 3 and below, you will beat a person that doesn't have that has maxed out Gen 4 heroes and, max out plasmas all the way down compared to that rally. So there's no rhyme or reason. And then we can discuss it this week, and another update will come out, and it'll completely change again.
Or, I honestly feel like it might be different in the newer states versus the older states, too. I honestly do feel this way because some of the things that I'm seeing in our older states, Finn is trying to figure this stuff out, and Finn's, like, asking us questions, and Fury, everybody from the older states are saying this is what applies, but Finn's like, no, I'm not seeing that here. It's doing things differently here. Or he's seeing things different and things that we might not have noticed before. But like his question was, I'm still unclear on how heroes impact on a rally. Using trap, for example, if 2 joiners have the same Sarge power, level, etc., do you get better results with both Sarge or one chef? Like, he's trying to figure this out, and we're all like just...
I don't know, just play.
I know, we're stumped because it changes for us too all the time. And and it looks like what works in the older states does not work in newer states.
No.
It's like, they have a completely different game.
It's a different setup for the rally mechanics, because like everybody else is saying, no, that's fault, that's right. Well, it's not in the newer states. It plays different. And if you look back at all of our streams, like legit, I will tell you guys, we're not always right. We're playing our game the way we know and what we learn and what we learn from. We're all learning from different people that play this game and test it. So what we know at the moment is what we know and we've tested and we feel is the best thing for it. Nobody can be an expert in this game unless you are a developer that is writing this code yourself. And even them, I don't even know if they are.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But so we give the information that we know at the time. But if you look back into our streams, all the information that has come out for like this trap, we've discussed trap on this one, and this trap we've discussed trap here, completely different information. And because that's how often it's changing. It's not because we're just like flip-flopping. It's just it is changing so much.
Yeah, we've hit this is episode 25. If you went back to our first show and you followed our first show and was like, this is how you do it, you would get absolutely crushed. You would get decimated, because at that point it was like equal troops and just set your right captain and you're good to go. Now it's not like that. And also the state 359. So I'm a ghost. It's a running gag. I'm a ghost in 359, and I joined Trap today. And Trap is operating really wonky, where, like, as a rally setter, I've got people that are doing more damage than I am, at just joining. So that usually should not be the case. If I'm doing 37,000 damage, everyone else should kind of be a little bit less, but I was doing 37,000 damage and there was a couple people doing 38, 32, like it wasn't necessarily like a waterfall down. And meanwhile, my stats are, progressively a little bit better than some, not everyone, but some. So it shouldn't necessarily be that way. And I remember when in 125, when we were doing trap and that was happening, it was like, trap's broken. Trap is completely broken. I don't know what's going on. And now it's happening in 359. So it's like, okay. If you ask the devs, they'll probably just kind of bank on the fact that like, oh, it's probably your research. Your research is probably a little bit off. That's what's causing that. That's unfortunate.
No, they'll just say top to bottom, left to right.
Yes. And top always bottom, upward. Right. Twirling and twirling.
So Ziegler asked a really good question. It's already 10:44. I feel like we have not been talking that long, guys. I really don't.
I feel like I'm just getting started.
I really don't feel like we've been talking long at all.
Venom.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
So.
No, I miss you.
No.
Go ahead.
No, all good. Something I just looked up because I never have. And I thought I would just do it now to see if my point could be proven. Rise of Kingdoms, talked about it a lot of streams. Lilith Games is the game developer. Guess which country they're based out of?
Wait, this country?
Korea.
No, you mean SOS?
So Lilith Games, who's the game developer for Rise of Kingdoms, the game that I referenced.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
Guess what country they're based out of?
Germany.
China.
Yeah.
So we have a game developer who's based out of the exact same country as SOS in terms of game developer. And they just launched, I've been playing the game for 2 years. They just launched a community forum.
Oh.
Game-wide. And so right in game, you have access to this forum. You can provide feedback directly to the devs, Q&A, game suggestions and feedback, surveys, rewards, gift codes, you name it. And they just launched it. But they've actually got a game Bible because the game has been so consistent over the 2 years of its operation. There's actually a game Bible where every player has the same gaming experience across every kingdom, and they are able to go to this game forum and game Bible to reference mechanics game-wide because it's the same for every single person. And the way the game operates is the same for every single person. And they just launched a thing where if your account was not bound by, I think it's the end of this month, it can't go past level 10. You can't trade resources. You can't farm. You can't do research past a certain point. So they're now committing players who are actually playing their platform now have to be committed with a bound account because they have an anti-cheating campaign, and so on and so forth. So all these things that are coming out of a Chinese game developer. So my question for SOS devs, because I've mentioned this game now so many times, I guarantee you King's Group knows exactly who Lilith Games are because they're based in the same country. So my question would be why would you not be looking at what they're doing and applying it to your platform? Because clearly it's successful.
I mean, purely on like an overall culture basis, probably pride. Set in their ways like, hey, I think we're doing it better. Well, I think we're doing it better.
Or maybe there's some kind of like weird copyright issues or things like that. But my biggest thing is, yes, like you said, don't reinvent the wheel that is clearly good and doing well and people are satisfied in this area. Like, you don't have to knock it off completely, but just take the aspects that they're using that makes the game better, like clear battle mechanics is my biggest thing. Like, some clarity with these battle mechanics would be uber helpful. And I really honestly think it's not even about like us bitching to be bitching. I think you would have so much more enjoyment in the game if people could understand how to play it better. Like, so, and that seems really obvious, but it's true. If everybody knew what to do with these rallies and what the heroes are or how they apply to the rallies and stuff like that, people would play more and they would find more enjoyment in playing because they understand it. You don't like to do something when you feel lost. And as far as a streamer and content creator, we don't like to do this when we don't feel that we're giving correct information, and it changes all the time and we don't even know. We can't get a clear answer on that. So I think there's been several things that we've been saying that we're going to push hard for. This is one of the things that I'm probably going to push for, is like more clarity with the battle mechanics, because it's so confusing. It's so confusing. And for a new player, like Finn is a smart gamer. Like, he can usually figure out anything like that. And the fact that he is struggling to understand the battle mechanics in this game should tell you everything right there. If a guy that is this smart with figuring out mechanics can't make heads or tails of this, then what is an average player that just picks up this game, a casual gamer? They're not going to want to play this because they're getting demolished all the time because they don't understand the battle mechanics. Unless you spend money, like, you're going to get ruined because you don't understand it. So I just think it would overall be a good thing to do, and to put some fog over the damn capital in SBS. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, once you have a playbook, then you can involve. I feel like right now the game concentrates too much on the top 10%, and that's probably being very, very lenient with that number. Like, if you want to win, only involve the top 10% of your alliance. Because that's going to be your strongest, and if you've got any shot to win, then that's it. But that's, you've got 100 people in your alliance, and you only want to use 10. So you just literally want people to kind of come in and just push help for you. That can't be the solution. And I can see the fact like, oh, well, make those 90 people push into the top 10. But that only goes so far, especially if they don't know what they're pushing towards. If they're pushing towards the wrong thing, and they get there and they're still not part of the club, that will be detrimental. That's just like, what, I'm quitting the game. You don't want that. You would imagine that you want 1 million people spending $1 opposed to one person spending $1 million.
So Finn had a comment follow-up to that. Well, the problem is he can't really experiment because there's always a reward or something on the line for like traps. So it's, unless you have all spenders in an alliance, you really depend on those trap rewards to get your gear. So like, it's not like you could just blow a trap to like experiment. I mean, you can, but it sucks for everybody having to try to do that. So he's like, it's really hard to do this. We have asked several times to have like a beta access so that we can actually test and play around, so that you have content creators that can actually give you better mechanics breakdown, because we have a test server that we can test it on. So I agree with you, Finn. Like in all the other games that we played, RSG, we had a test account, a beta account that we could test things on and run simulation battles and things like that on it. We don't have that here. I know that AF is working. AF, I have to give it to him. He's pushing really hard for this stuff, but he can only push so far with what he has. He's a handler. He's not a dev. He's not the developer. So he's trying. But Leo says it's all a conspiracy so that people don't discuss the important things needed to be changed in game. It keeps you discussing about battle mechanics now. I think that's an important thing. The game is all about battle mechanics, to be honest. I mean, am I wrong? Yeah. I think that's the most important thing in the game.
I feel bad that when I see someone join a rally and the first, like, they've only got one star troop and it's a rider, and it's like, oh, damn, you could only invest in one thing and you invested in the troop type that is completely almost disregarded. You almost have more sense of just going ahead and being like, I'm going to be 70% infantry and 30% hunter and not even put in rider, and I've got a better chance of winning if I've got, anything at rider, so, and they're like, you just invested in that, and that's unfortunate. That's like, damn, you bought your one gold piece and you bought a rider piece.
Mako,
you'll regret that later.
Mako's in chat. He said, start an alt alliance just for experimenting. My alt account is only for res and experimentation. I feel like if Mako and Finn got into an alliance together, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know what that would look like. Daedric, you missed the Mako. You missed the Mako stream where he was just like breaking down with all these crazy, like, just awesome amounts of information. He's so good. Leo said, "Look at the." Oh, go ahead.
No, I feel like Sticky was like the only account or the only video I've ever seen where they were using farms to test marches.
Yeah.
Because farms were like, oh, you didn't take losses on farms, and then they changed that also.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, my T9s just completely crushed T10s. That's how long ago this video was. So I'm only going to use T9s. That's how, but, there needs to be a place where you can kind of do that.
Leo said, look at the broken things in game before the change of battle mechanics. We were discussing about something else. Now we're discussing something else. Well, the broken things in the game is battle mechanics, to be honest. But I consider the broken things in the game, like not having fog over the capital, is part of battle mechanics in a way. Well, not really, but I mean, there's lots of broken things in the game, but what is going to affect the most impactful thing that will affect you immediately is understanding the game mechanics of rallies and things like that. To me, that would be the most impactful, like right away to fix. Of course, there are tons of other things that they need to fix, but to me, that's the most important, and making that clear. And I think we've said that since the beginning of the streams, is just like making it very clear how to play the game and how the stats and stuff work with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even like dropping fog on the map, because if it's like you've got a dead account and they're in the fog, then that probably creates an issue for them or whatever. But Daedric brought it up. This is 5 weeks ago now, if I'm remembering correctly with my extremely strange brain. Just take off the slowdown of the marches around capital. That solves just about everything. It takes that'll take 9 minutes off from being 5 bases away.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
What were you gonna say, Daedric?
I was just gonna say, so Leo, a bit of credit. Yes, there's lots of things broken in the game. 100% agree with you. Venom is right. Every single day you play the game, anything you do, battle mechanics, it involves it. Whether you're doing your daily, whether you're attacking an infected, whether you're doing trap, whether you're doing PvP, PvE, doesn't matter what you're doing in the game, it's battle mechanics. So if that is broken, you can't even look at anything else until that's fixed. It's like operating a conveyor belt and your belt is busted, but you're worried about the refrigeration system in the other room. And the conveyor belt is what's making you money. well, the battle mechanics is what's making this game money, because that's how the game, right? That's how it runs. So, you know, for us to have a play-by-play guide that everybody can reference, so that you don't have in these streams 10 people giving you 10 different answers. We can talk instead. We can have a stream literally on the game guide. Hey, let's talk about the game guide today, because everybody has the same information. Like that's where we need to hit.
Oh my gosh, and this is so frustrating because like Finn and I were talking about like making videos, like how-to videos, but it's so worrisome to try to do that because you don't know exactly, and you can say this is how we've done it and this is how it's worked, and like the whole conveyor belt thing. Yes, the battle mechanics, we're still able to play it, but it's a wonky conveyor belt. Like we don't know how it works, and you can't teach people how to play based on something you don't understand yourself. And so they keep pushing. The dev team wants us to make videos and how-to videos because, of course, they want us to get their game out there. But I don't understand your game fully. So I'm trying. I can make... Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, even when you do understand it and you get the video done and you send it out there, a week later it changes.
It changes. Yeah. I made that video. with oh my gosh, I can't even remember his name right now. Oh my gosh, I made it.
Oh, your hair looks so good.
What?
That's all I remember is your hair looking so good in that video.
What was it? My hair did look great in that. What was it?
Z Gaming? Gaming? No.
No. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I have forgotten.
Hopefully they're not watching. If you are,
he's got like 200K subscribers. Finn, tell me who it is. You can remember it. But anyway, I did the video with him, and we were talking about like the most important things in the game, and blah, blah, blah. And like we were talking about the market. And then they changed the market the day after he released the video. And I was like, frick. You know, like everything, like half of the stuff that I was saying, it was completely changed and completely different. So Echo Gaming, that's who it is. So like he's playing the game as well, and he's a great guy. But he's messaged me a couple times like, you know, I'm trying to figure out this stuff or that stuff, and it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Welcome to the club.
I know, it's really hard. So, yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're saying too, Devon. Like not Devon, it was Leo. But I think this is the most important thing to do. And I think we could actually help you guys so much more as content creators if we knew, like Daedric was saying, if we knew and there was like a set battle mechanics. Man, could you imagine the how-to videos? We could like say, oh, this is the best way to trap, because we would test and test and test and make sure we've got a great strategy because we know the mechanics of it. Oh, it would be lovely.
Oh, like, for instance, I'm going to ask the panel right now. 100% infantry versus 100% rider on a farm. Who wins?
It's going to be your infantry, man.
And are you playing defense? Sure? If you're playing defense as with 100 infantry?
Oh, see? That's the first question of the answer.
If I have all defensive troops and you're attacking with 100 riders, is that what you're saying?
It's completely open, and as you can tell,
I think the infantry would win. I think infantry would win if I am defending and you're attacking, and I have infantry. I would win. Let's try
it. See, like that would make sense, but who knows if it works?
Who knows? Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. I mean, and we are 4 hardcore players, you know, that have seen. How many marches have we seen? That's the one thing that I really wanted in the book. Memories book. You know, thanks for playing. This is so sweet. The awesome book. How many marches you've sent out? I thought that would have been a cool thing.
To that question you just said, Mako has an even better follow-up. Shields or shotguns. Because that whole aspect is completely different too. What are we talking about? Which tier, which type of infantry? Because they have a whole different aspect to it. Like,
yeah. I mean, technically, a bulldozer, you know, versus a guy with a shield, you know, you should be able to clearly see which one's going to do that. But then it's like, you start looking at the battle report, and it's like, oh, well, riders really only come in until everybody else is dead. And I'm like, what? What did they take the later train?
follow-up to Mako's question, cheddar or mozzarella?
Mozzarella.
Oh, that reminds me of Code 2.
All day.
Look at Code 2, guys. Cheese plate.
Yes! Yes! Fucking win! I'm saying that on stream.
I think that was all Aeth. I'm going to say that's all the handler Aeth right there. It probably was. Thank you. I missed your $2 donation. He said, "What's up, Ranger?" I'm sorry I missed that thing. You know me. I'm all over the place. I need somebody to keep me in check with this stuff.
I want the code to be Rock On Allen. So bad. And they can spell it any way they want.
Oh my gosh.
ALLEN or ALAN. You know, whichever way they want to do it. Even if they want to go crazy and just go alum and just do ALLUM. Go nutty. Who knows?
So Jeremy123, who always has good stuff.
What up, dude?
He said, try 65-25-10 tomorrow at Capitol, and you'll see riders doing work now. Broken, hilarious part of game is SVS matching states who already fought. What a joke.
Oh, wow. You guys have that going on.
Oh, no. His state is matched with somebody who's already done SBS, and they haven't? Like, I think people that have first-time players playing states that have already played before. Oh, that is so screwed. That is messed up.
I feel like he's playing a state that we beat.
That is messed up, honestly.
We crushed the state that he's playing, and then it was 7 hours and 58 minutes, and they launched 4 rallies. And they 4 rallies is going to knock anybody out. But if you need 4 rallies to knock someone out and they can take it back with 1, they're really just postponing the inevitable.
Oh, yeah, they did that
unless they decide to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we had to go to 16 hours because they decide to do that.
What's the 65-25-10? So he's like, you'll see riders doing
65
work now?
infantry, 65% infantry, 25% hunter, and 10%
I've not seen
rider.
that mix, though. Is it working?
That's the dream. That's the dream scenario.
I'm going to preset it now.
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't you send 1 infantry, 1 hunter, and 1 rider, and you crush that capital?
Leroy Jenkins, that bitch.
Right?
And you know what?
Imagine it won. Imagine the game factored in well, they've only got 7 people in their rally, and because the rally coming at them has 20 people, maybe that makes a difference. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Mako says
it'd be cool to actually see that,
Yeah.
To just have 20 people in a rally as opposed to having 7.
Yeah, that would be fun. They really need to distinguish the difference between the 2 types of troops for each category. There currently is nobody using 2 tiers. It's always just T10s. Well, at one point there was 2 tiers. I remember we were using 2 tiers. Then it went straight T10s. And then now, it's still straight T10s. But remember at one point it was good to use T9s and T10 hunters?
If you were a strong enough rally and you launched all T9s and someone only using T10s, you would win. Way back.
I remember on the trap it was better to use T9s at one point, or they thought it was. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, T10s didn't become the value of trap for a while. For a really long while.
Mm. Oh no, he's saying 25 rider. 25, the number 25 rider.
Wow.
Thane just said, it's okay, McVenom. After you broke my heart, I don't expect anything from you. You don't even reply to my messages. I might have to sing you Careless Whispers or something. I reply to everybody's message. Eventually. You just got to give me some time. I'll get to it.
Well, I wouldn't whisper because she wouldn't be able to hear you past the hearing aids. I haven't called an old joke.
I don't agree, but I do enjoy.
You want to see something else that you would even actually have more of jokes on me? I thought you were going to pull out my ears, because if you would have said that, I would have been like, okay, I can't even deny that. I have the smallest ears in the world. Have you ever seen my ears?
No.
You
Are you
guys
gonna
gonna
show
love
us
this.
your
Oh
ears?
yeah, I'll show you.
Oh, they're cute.
Look how tiny these ears are. I mean, they're like legit. My eyes are bigger than my ears. They're the itty bitty little ears. I used to get picked on so bad about people and me not being able to hear anything.
Wow.
Yeah, they're tiny. Like, look, they're like this big. Like, they're so tiny.
I mean, I've got
When I wear my
satellite
hair
dishes,
back,
so
like,
I'm
they're
bad.
tiny little ears.
Especially when I get my hair cut, I'm literally, let me go ahead and just get a little focus on that when they stick out.
Look, my
Like you would
earbuds
believe.
barely fit in my ears. That's how tiny they are.
So my dad was in the Air Force, and we've got this picture of him in his like Air Force class, and he's in front of this giant like bomber airplane, and it's him and like 250 people, right? And they're just, everyone's like in a high school picture where it's like you're cascading, and you can spot my dad by his ears.
By his ears.
Because they're just like, whoop.
Yeah, that's how my
It is
dads are.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was like, at 6 years old, I was one of probably my earliest memories is picking up my dad in the satellite ears, and it's genetic. It's just
Well, they always said I was the milkman's child because my dad has like these ears that are like this, and then I have these ears. So Finn had a question. This may be a weird question. If you have a rally cap of 20 people joining and let's say 100K capacity, what is better? One person with 100K joining or 20 with 5K? You get free heroes with 20, right?
That's the thing. You don't know. There's no way to know. I mean, technically, it would probably base off of how many of those people had plasma. You know, because plasma troops really do make a difference. You know, if you have a strong-only rally, you have a high percentage of winning, as opposed to having a rally where, you know, the top staffs are there, and then you're going against people that are like, oh,
But
you know, this
plasma wouldn't
one's
matter
got...
though, right? If it's 100K plasma troops versus 100K plasma troops, he's talking about like how much the heroes difference would play into it.
Oh, like if the plasma was exactly the same on both sides.
Yeah, like the troop stats themselves with the heroes, how they affect the troop stats. Would it be better with having a variety of them versus?
I think that's also the toughest part of the game because there's so many levels. You know, because you've got troop class, then you have plasma class, then you've got your own individual research, then you've got the buffs that you apply to those, you know, and then you have the talents that you apply on top of that as well. So, you know, it's
the question is do they have dogs or hamburgers for lunch?
And how many trees? What's their prosperity like?
Do they have enough oxygen? Are they suffocating?
Or enough stoplights? Is the traffic okay in their settlement?
I want to ask the devs to give Finn like a special oxygen tank settlement skin for his base, so people can just go to him and reinforce him for him.
Yeah. Finn is going to be the first base. It's like a lotus blossom.
Dude, Nightmare said, first 4 weeks I got a level 22 castle in Clash of Kingdoms. I never got a level 22 castle because we were too busy battling all the time. SOS just seems like a farming game with no threats. Dude, there's threats.
No threats.
We don't have threats right now because you're in 3. No, he's in 359 with us.
I mean, we can.
But because we
can
have
a hit on your base.
We can. We have honestly negotiated our safety in 359 to where we're just kind of like chilling while you guys are learning the game. But there was some times when we were burning in the beginning hard.
We're just
to the point
right
where
now.
Finn almost rage spin. Mr. Free to Play player almost rage spin. We were getting hit so hard. So there's definitely some threats, and there will be threats. I mean, we
for
can
the
make
end
it.
game.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we will range a hit on your base, Nightmare. Don't worry about that.
It's like threats during a kill event. Threats like at all times. Okay. Let's see. Anything else, guys? I don't know.
I don't know. For SVS, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, we kind of got off the SVS topic, but I mean, if you guys have any questions ever, what?
How cute let's talk about how cute Fury's badger is.
Yeah, super cute. Honey badgers are always cute.
It's the very first profile pic I ever had on like an online profile, like so many years ago.
You know what mine was? Mine was Xena, the warrior princess. Remember when she's doing the shrug? She's like,
yeah.
That was my first ever profile pic, and I still use it. Like occasionally, I'll put it up.
Yeah.
That and the nuns. I love switching it up with that and a nun picture.
Yeah, your nuns are classic.
I do like the nuns. All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Where did Delete go? He just bailed out. Did he drop his earbud or something?
Probably to get another drink.
Possibly.
Durgan, zip it.
Yeah. What in the world?
It's because it feels like every stream we talk about free to play versus pay to win.
Yeah, we do. I mean, that's kind of the crux of gaming, though. Like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
avoidable.
It's a universal discussion. It happens in every game. Anyway, so I think we're going to wrap it up. Did I put the second code? Yes, cheese plate. Second game code is cheese plate. Durgan, they do that every week, I've seen. We don't do it every week. Thank you. Just sometimes it comes up. It's really important. But thank you guys for joining. I think we're going to go and play around on the other RSG server. We might jump in voice. Me and Sweet Tits here might play some games. Might even play some Phasmophobia. You up for it?
Oh, you want to play Phasmo? Oh, I'm down for Phasmo.
Yeah, I might play something. You guys can watch us get scared on Twitch if we have anything open on Twitch. Do we have anything streaming, Finn? I don't know. We might play some Phasmophobia. It's a fun game, but yeah, thank you guys for joining. We appreciate it. Thanks to Delete, Daedric, Tits of Fury, everybody that was in stream, everybody that did super chats and asked questions. We appreciate it. Let us know if you have any other questions. Go to the RSG server and to the State of Survival channel. If you have questions, hit one of these guys up. Lots of knowledge here. Also, there's lots of other people in that channel that can help with any questions. So just hit us up on it. And until then, we will see you next time. And happy hunting, guys.
Bye.
Rock on, Alan. Woo!